This is The Wire for 2300 Zulu, October 1st, 2025. Precedence is routine. Information cutoff is 2200. Bottom line up front. Rose Doherty arrested again in Scotland as social dissent continues to rise. IED threat discovered near Munich, delaying some Oktoberfest events. Beginning with international events, in the United Kingdom, social concerns and dissent continue as before. On Monday, Rose Doherty was arrested once again in Scotland for holding a sign in the general vicinity of an abortion facility, which read "Coercion is a crime, here to talk, only if you want." Analysts comment. This is the second time she was arrested under similar circumstances, with a nearly identical incident occurring back in February. Regarding that initial incident, the charges were eventually dropped in August. However, that did not stop police from arresting her under the same conditions anyway once again. For wider context, in Scotland specifically, buffer zone laws have been a concern for some time, since they don't just apply to protest actions in public, but also in private homes, as noted by American Vice President J.D. Vance, which brought a lot of international attention to the issue back in February after her first arrest. More generally around the kingdom, dissent is growing. A petition to scrub the digital ID plans has reached over 2.7 million signatures so far, which is not an inconsequential number regarding these types of government petitions. Nevertheless, the petition has so far been ignored and the number of signatures continues to climb. Considering the very serious speech issues across the pond, whenever these incidents come to light, it is often only American sources who can bring more eyes to these dystopian issues, since even talking about these topics in public forum is often an arrestable offense in the UK now. As such, while these incidents do not get that much attention here in the US, these are always worthy of note, as the general situation continues to deteriorate as similar efforts pop up here at home. In Germany, this morning, Oktoberfest celebrations were briefly delayed following an explosive threat in Munich. A fire broke out at a residential building, which resulted in loud bangs being heard by locals as various unknown items cooked off inside the burning structure. Upon responding to the incident, local authorities indicated this may not have been a standard house fire, but rather linked to some sort of explosive threat. One person was reported deceased in conjunction with this investigation, but details vary regarding this person's status. Authorities have also stated that one person linked to this case has been reported missing. However, that person's remains may have been located inside the structure. Authorities also stated that the incident stemmed from a domestic dispute that involved the paternity of the deceased suspect's daughter. Analyst comments for this wire. The media coverage of the Oktoberfest explosive threat has been confusing at best, but the discovery of multiple explosive devices strongly indicates that this incident is not a simple domestic. Just to be blunt, we don't know if the suspect was a German man or a German man, so until that detail is known, this whole situation could either be a very rare and obscure, but still horrific case that is purely a case study, or it could be a continuation of the new normal regarding terrorism threats around Europe. German authorities, in typical fashion, are not making it easy to determine what happened here, so some speculation is needed to piece together the basic facts of the case and to determine if any threat still remains regarding the final days of Oktoberfest. But, rounding up all of the evidence released to the public, a general sequence of events can be organized. A 57-year-old German man engaged in a family dispute at a home in Lerchenau this morning. That dispute resulted in the home being set on fire, and upon the fire services arriving on scene, explosive devices were found inside the residence, along with the remains of a 90-year-old man that is assessed to be the suspect's father. Separately, a 57-year-old man was identified as the arsonist before fleeing the scene with police in pursuit. An 81-year-old woman, the suspect's mother, and a 21-year-old woman, the suspect's daughter, were also injured as a result of the fire. Sometime later, the suspect was discovered deceased at some location near a lake adjacent to the original house fire location. The man appears to have taken his own life and had a backpack with him that also had improvised explosive devices inside. At some point during the investigation, authorities discovered a note written by the deceased suspected bomb maker which referenced Oktoberfest, thus the link to the event. No further details have been released, but authorities have allowed festivities to continue as if there is no future threat. This concludes The Wire for 2300 Zulu, October 1st, 2025.